Hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Tony. Thanks for coming along, having a look. This isn't going to be a professional kind of thing. I'm not skilled in computers at all, so editing and that is going to be really basic. So, just an introduction. I'm probably going to do this in two parts because there's quite a bit of backstory to go with this. But might as well start kind of at the beginning. Now, I've got family history of bowel cancer. Lost my mother in 2017 on Christmas Eve to bowel cancer. Her father, he passed away back in 86, 87 from bowel cancer. So I've been on the watch list for a good few years, along with my three brothers. We all get checked every couple of years. So it was about 3 years ago was the last time I had a colonoscopy, which, because of my size, I'm 6'4", the camera that particular hospital had at the time couldn't actually do the full length of my bowel, so I ended up getting an MRI carried out. And I was given the all clear, no problems at all. Brothers, touch wood, fortunately, they've been absolutely fine as well. So, basically, June, July last year, I started having kind of problems with my stomach. Basically, the only way to describe it really is like a scene out of Alien, where the alien's coming out through the stomach, the bulge. So that started happening June, July last year, so 2025. Anytime I went to go from lying down to sitting up, this massive bulge appeared in the centre of my stomach. So I went to the doctors about it because it was quite concerning, bloody awful to see. And doctors kind of just pushed me off and basically said, well, you're overweight, you've torn your stomach muscles, which I had done as a teenager, and it won't heal itself until you lose weight. Now, at the time I was 21 and a half stone, so yes, overweight. At 6'4" though, a lot of it's muscle on me. I am a big guy, but clinically obese, going by the UK BMI. So, I just accepted it. Yeah, I'm a fat boy, I drink too much, end of story. Then in about September, I started having problems with some of the meals I was having. I wasn't managing to keep stuff down. Not all the time, but if I had anything like full of rice, stuff that could be quite heavy, I couldn't keep it down. So I never thought anything of it. A case of, just I'm getting old, because I turned 50 in August. And then into October, this was still carrying on. It was, it was a once a week type thing. And then into October, I didn't manage to keep meal down, and obviously I threw it up. And then you always spit to clear what's left in your mouth, and it was blood, quite a lot of blood. I thought, all right, okay, now we're gonna have to go to the doctors. So, made an appointment with the doctors, and they said, right, we'll do blood tests. Well, here's the poo stick. Go do that, and right, okay, no problem. So I did the poo stick, got the blood test, and things like that. A couple of days later, doctors phoned me. So the results of the poo stick have come back. There is a high blood count. Now, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was a case of if you've got a blood count of 400 in your poo, you are basically getting shipped off to hospital straight away. Mine was 393. Whatever that meant, it just meant I was, obviously it was quite serious. So fine, okay, let's just deal with it. We'll get things sorted and see how we go. So it was a case of a waiting game. Now in November, by this point I was up to 22.5 stone. In the November into December, I lost about a stone because my eating kind of had to stop. I wasn't managing to process meals properly, so it became painful to eat. So I kind of cut back on my eating. I lost a stone in weight, so that's 14 pounds. So dropped back down to the 21.5 stone, and I got a phone call from the hospital, and they said, look, we'll get you in, we'll do a colonoscopy. I spoke to them and said, look, when I was at that other hospital, they couldn't do it because of this, and they said, no, it's fine, we'll get it sorted, don't worry about that, we'll manage to get you in. It'll be about 7 weeks. Okay, so that's the end of January. They're obviously not that fussed. So this was, I think that was the 20th of December. So, no problem, that's fine. And then the following day, I get a letter through saying you're booked in for 3rd of January for a colonoscopy. Okay, this is getting a bit more concerning. They're wanting to do this a bit quicker than I thought. Now, because of the not being able to eat and things like that, I'd basically cancelled Christmas Day plans, and I'd also cancelled my work's night out because they were going to a steakhouse. I knew I wasn't going to be able to eat it, and I also didn't want to be violently ill in a public place. So that was it. Cancelled. Job done. Now, sorry, I'm just having a quick look. I have made some notes about this. Make sure I'm covering everything. So 3rd of January I was booked in for a colonoscopy. 2nd of January, in the evening, it was a case of take the first dose of the prep, basically a laxative. So I took that when I was supposed to. I think it was 6 p.m. Now, having previously had a colonoscopy, I knew how it worked. It worked quickly, and you spend a lot of time on the toilet. Nothing happened. So okay, that's concerning, but it was a different kind of stuff. It was, I think the first time was Picolax, and this time was something else. It was bloody awful anyway. So I thought, okay, maybe it's a case it starts working in the morning. So on to the 3rd of January, up at 6 a.m. Allowed to have your coffee and things like that, as long as it's before 7 a.m. Take a Picolax. Now, my appointment was like 2:30 in the afternoon, I think it was. So we're now into 3rd of January 2026. For anyone in the UK, certainly North East Scotland where I am, the weather really turned. So I took the second lot of prep. Nothing happened. And I mean absolutely nothing. Now, the hospital happened to phone me because the weather had turned so bad, to say, are you still coming? And I said, well, yes, but I've taken both lots of prep and nothing's happened. Nothing's come through me. And they said, well, we can't do the colonoscopy then. You need to be cleared out. I said, well, what can I do? And they said, well, we'll just have to reschedule you. All right, okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, I understand that. So that was it. Didn't get a rescheduled date or anything like that. It was just a case of we are rescheduling you. Okay. Now, that was maybe 10 o'clock in the morning. Round about lunchtime, so 12, 1 o'clock, I started being quite violently ill. And when I say violently ill, I mean exorcist level of projectile. And it just wouldn't stop. Anytime I took a drink of anything, at least a litre of vomit came up. So basically what had happened was, because I had the blockage in my bowel, everything had built up above that, including the laxative. It had liquidized everything, and then the only way it could go was up. So, without putting it too roughly, I was basically shitting out my mouth. Liquid. So yeah, that went on for several hours. I think it was about 9 o'clock at night. I eventually phoned NHS 24 because I was so dehydrated, because any time, even just a little sip of water, massive amount of vomit. and I was getting dizzy and everything with it. So phoned NHS24, explained the situation, and they said, look, we're going to get an ambulance to you, but it could be several hours. Now, I mean, I didn't look outside. When I eventually did go out to the ambulance, there was over a foot of snow, so it was kind of getting bad. Now, about 5:15 in the morning, the ambulance turned up. So it was quite a long wait, but then, I wasn't considered too urgent, but urgent enough to have an ambulance. So a chap came in, he did a heap of checks on me, he gave me an injection to prevent the vomiting, which worked basically instantly. It was just absolute bliss. And we loaded up into the ambulance at 6 a.m. and we headed off. Now, it was getting really bad with the snow. We ended up taking different routes to what I would have taken personally. And that's just how it goes. But yeah, we got into hospital. It did take quite a long time to get there. And into A&E I went. So, I think I'll cut it off here, just for the first video. Trust me, the second one will be a lot longer. Like I say, I've been writing notes out for all these sort of things. So, I mean, that's us up to January the 4th. Basically, second video is going to be like later January 4th, up to present date. So you can imagine, it's going to be quite a long one. I just thought I'd do a little break. Now, I mean, I'm doing these videos. Yeah, if I can help anyone get through things, brilliant. But at the end of the day, it's going to be there for me to see how far I've come and a kind of reminder of the things I've been through. Because, yeah, I mean, someone said to me the other week, I'm dying with cancer. I'm not. I'm living with cancer. Dying would mean it's going to beat me, and it's not. So if I can help someone get through it for them, help them along, cheer them up, no matter what sort of stage they are, absolute bonus. Now, if you have any questions, any comments, please just post them down below. I will read everything. So just like I say, I'm not a computer whiz, I'm not a design whiz or anything like that, so there's obviously lots of M's and ums and things like that. Please bear with me. But yeah, if this is something that's going to interest you, if you could like and subscribe, that would be brilliant. But I will see you on the next one.